Okay, friends, welcome. Hope everyone is having a wonderful rest of the day. It's a lovely late.
Have you fed anybody?
Yeah, everybody's done.
They're done?
Yeah, fed and watered. Yeah, and watered everyone. And filled up the water.
Oh, just here.
Hold on, guys. My gimbal is acting up. Still unstable. Okay, now we are back to being stable. So I need to check something. Oh, why are we unstable? We should totally be stable. That's weird. Yeah, we should be good. Let me double check, guys. I'll be right back. Give me just a second. So I'm gonna put you guys right here. I just want to double check everything's good. Okay. Awesome. Everything is good. Just hope everyone's having a good day. Where are we at? We were talking, it is late August. Or mid-August. I don't know, sometime in August. So we're going to go for a quick little walk, show you guys what's going on, and we're going to talk a little bit about some silliness that's going on in the world. And we're going to see if this, if it wants to let me continue, because it obviously doesn't. But you guys can, maybe you can see beautiful gray clouds with some blue sky dots. If you listen in the distance, you will hear some cicadas. I started hearing cicadas this year on the 3rd of August. Some guineas running around. So we're just gonna go for a quick little jolt. I wanna try to get back in the habit of doing some walking and chatting and fun things like that. Got the ducks over there. Here we are heading to the gate. So it's been a very interesting year, to say the very least. Lots of stuff I was not expecting. Lots of cool and lots of chaos. So let's first address the most important thing that I'd like to talk about is some of you guys know I keep track of a variety of. Why does it keep doing that? Guess this phone, using a slightly different phone. I guess this phone is a little heavier than the other one on the gimbal. So anyways, what I was saying is, I keep track of a lot of stuff. And so feed prices, it is absolutely crazy how expensive feed prices have gone up since the last 2 years. So now corn is going down a little bit, but you always expect corn to grow down this time of year, because during this time of year, this is when they're replacing last year's corn with this year's corn. So whatever they've got left over in the corn silo, they're changing it out with this year's corn. But even with that, I've not seen the big corn drop. I think a 50-pound bag is like $9 or $10 now, where this time of year, a 50-pound bag should be somewhere between $5 or $6. Now, the cheapest I've seen a 50-pound bag is about $2. That was quite a few years ago. So you guys can see drastically how much it changed in just a few years. Soybeans are outrageous. Sunflower seeds, absolutely outrageous. I don't even know what the price. The feed place, I talked about it, and he's just like, nah, dude, I can't make any profit off of it. So he doesn't snag really too much of those. So, just interesting. Something else. This year's been the wettest year I have absolutely experienced here in Flat Top. We're in August, and during August, this usually is more of a drier type. This is the time of year when I'm kind of worried about you know, the duck pond and such like that. And right now, it has just been, we're just covered up with rain. It's rained almost every day, at least a little bit, almost every day. I'm not complaining. Don't ever think I'm complaining about rain, because I can always use more rain. But just shocked. So I would like it would be nice for a couple nice days to dry out, because I really need to get my hay mowed. Kind of slacking at that. But let me peek down and show you guys. So if you peek down at the pond, you guys can see, even though the only reason the pond's low is because there's a hole in it right now. But other than that, the pond has just, the pond has sustained temperatures. Sorry, the pond has sustained water. You guys can hear, I mean, still water rolling down the side of the mountain here from this mountain cistern. Which is still just, for this time of year, it's just rather intriguing. So I need to remind myself again, because I was supposed to do this in the spring and I didn't. But right here, the cistern is right there. I need to get all of this cleaned out and get that ready. So I guess the internet is cutting off and cutting back on, so whatever. Maybe you guys, some of you will see this now. Either way, we're just still gonna head up the mountain. So, why do I think it's gonna be a dark winter? Well, there's lots of reasons I theorize it's gonna be a dark winter. One, geopolitical, they are just playing with us and taunting us. But I've really been trying to figure out, we've been talking about it on my Discord, which, by the way, if you guys want to join the Discord, discord.gg/xdrfirefly. So I now have a custom vanity way to find me. So again, that's discord.gg/xdrfirefly. We've been talking on there a lot about what we think's going on and why. And I think that this is all reality. I don't think it's as sometimes we think it's, all the silliness that all the different groups say, and I think it's because they know the sun's about to do stuff, and they know the environment is about to do some crazy changes, and they're trying to distract us from that so they can come in and be the savior when the environment does whatever it's going to do. I think that's the reason why we have the global warming. I think that the COVID was just a beta run to see how well they could convince people to not leave their houses, how they can convert people over to more remote work. I think what they're doing is they're trying to convince people to not be outside and to not do outside things. And I think the reason is because they know that the stability of the weather is going to be a little crazy. So completely different take than how most people view what's going on. I like to try to think in different directions. I don't know if you guys have realized it about myself yet, but in general, I think people are good. I don't have that whole we are all sinners, we are all bad, humans are bad, that kind of stuff. I have the idea that humans are genuinely good. We get tricked by things like greed and selfishness and other things like that. But I think in general, people are good and they want to do good things. And I'm going to extrapolate that all the way out to the elites. Even though I don't like the elites. And I think the elites view themselves as a separate class. Maybe even as far as a separate species than we are. I still think that all in all, they genuinely don't want anyone to die. They don't want everyone to die. They don't mind their little entertainment. Like, they love all that crazy entertainment. They wouldn't mind a little bit of war. War's exciting to them and interesting. But I think in general, this is just to distract us from what is going on. Because I'll ask some of you. I know some of us on the Discord have been talking about it. We've been feeling weird. I know I've been feeling weird. I can definitely see I can feel all of the solar activity popping off. It is messing with me. And I've been trying to avoid a lot of the drama. Why? Because just my melancholy gets bad. So I don't know if most of you don't know that I don't normally like to use the word depression. I think it is it's a word, it's an excuse, it's a way to keep you down. Melancholy seems to be controllable, but I don't know. That's why I haven't really felt like streaming a lot. I don't feel like streaming if I'm just going to add on to the negative without solutions. I don't really feel like getting out there and telling you guys about, how shit sucks. Because most of you know it probably sucks for you guys too. So I'm trying to wait for solutions, or until I can give you guys information about, what we can do to be preparing. So with the dark winter ahead, what can you do to be preparing? So what I think we can do is you can plan ahead. You can get most of the crap that you need. You can store it up. I don't care if you live in the city or if you're out in the country like me or wherever you're at. You can start saving up some stuff. You can get some extra rice, some extra beans. You can save up some of your favorite snacks. So one of the things about prepping, I think a lot of people overlook, is sometimes it's fun. Like when you're prepping, sometimes you just want stuff that feels normal. So, maybe I'm not going to ever tell you that Twinkies are good for you. But, if Twinkies are something that helps you get through the craziness, then maybe you should add some Twinkies to your survival list and have some on hand. And again, I'm not talking end of the world type crap yet. I think we've still got probably a good 5 years for that, maybe a little longer. And when I say end of the world, I'm talking like crazy. That makes Clowntopia that we're living in right now look, like the 90s, like a good time. But I'm just saying, this next winter, this is going to be a test run for most everyone, is what do you have? How are you going to thrive? Because again, we're not trying to survive. So many people want to survive everything. I want to thrive. I want to have me and my friends. We just want to thrive in these times because this is the time that we're alive. We're not alive any other time, at least in this go around, in this current rodeo. So while we're here, we need doing what it takes to thrive. So thrive without, putting the cleats in anybody else's back. And thrive in the idea of not having to take advantage of anybody else, not playing their system. Thriving in the way that we can just thrive as being awesome humans. And internet is telling me that I'm not in a good spot. So we'll see. I'm going to head up to the top of the mountain. It obviously doesn't like me where I'm at right now, which is good to know, I guess. So just trying to figure out. One of the things I'm really, really wanting to work hard on the next couple of years, especially since I know we've got about 5 to 7 years left before things start getting crazy, is try to start building community. So I've been talking about community. I've been building online community pretty strong. A pretty awesome group on my Discord. And again, it's discord.gg/xDrFirefly. If you guys want to join my Discord and join the group of people, we talk about everything on there. Play video games together. We work on our chores, we work on ourselves, and we have some fun. And that's really how we have to. You need to make sure you add that fun into life, because if life is just chores and just work, you aren't going to be happy. You're not going to thrive with any of those. So I need to, spend time working on all of those a little better, tweak the balance of all of those, because sometimes I don't have the balance right. We're all guilty of that. But thriving in whatever dark winter. So I know where I live, just looking at the forecast, seeing how nature's telling me the tricks. I think we're going to have a cold, snowy winter. I think we're going to have high precipitation. So I'm crossing my fingers, and I'm hoping it's snowy. I'm hoping it's not ice storms, because ice storms would just be not bueno. Ice storms would just be the last case scenario of what I want to happen. But if it happens, you need to plan for it. So I've been absolutely slacking at all of my prep. I used to be so good at prep. I used to really be focusing on it, and then let's let the melancholy kick in and let life just kind of jostle me around a bit. And it's easy to do. So all of you out there that haven't got to the different stages that I'm at yet, or just feel like you want to get stuff done but you don't have the oomph, I understand. Passing no judgment on anybody, because I know my faults and I know where I would like to be at. But let's talk about the important things. First, proper clothing. Make sure right now, clothes is still cheap. We can still go to places like Goodwill, still go to places and get good quality clothes for cheap. You need to be doing that. You need to have the best quality clothes that you can have. Good working clothes, good clothes to get you out there in the bush, good clothes that aren't going to tear up. So a lot of the folks on my Discord, we've been talking about overalls. If you guys can see, wearing some overalls right now. Overalls generally fall into the category of just all around good outfit. So they should definitely be something. Good gloves. How to have a good set of gloves, some leather gloves, some Kevlar gloves, some gloves that can deal with cold, and some gloves that can deal with a lot of moving parts, dealing with stuff, fixing stuff. Gloves for cooking, gloves that you can keep sterile for cleanliness. Shoes. I'm not sure how you guys go. I have no problem getting gently used shoes on the internet, so I don't mind if someone's warm in a little bit, as long as they've got a lot of years left, or for me, a year or so left, and they are cheap, but not cheaply made, because some of those Chinese shoes are cheaply made. Just that. And also keep in mind that if you're used to lots of Chinese cheaply made stuff, understand that that's probably going to go away. So some people are going to argue with me, and they're going to say, nah, China needs to keep selling America cheap stuff. And I'm saying, I don't know if that's true anymore. I think there's a lot of paradigm switching, which I like. I'm not saying that I don't want paradigm switching, but there's a lot of paradigm switching happening. And with that paradigm switching, a lot of stuff that we took for granted. I mean, just keep in mind, we've only been having smartphones for about 10 or 12 years. Other than that, we've had flip phones, and even with that, most cellular phones, the most portable phones we've been carrying with us, has only been since the late 90s. So, 20 plus years. So, you just never know when things are going to drastically change, and the paradigm is going to switch on its head, and things are going to be different. So, look at this. That view is just absolutely spectacular. Also, you want to get to a place that you are comfortable being. You want to live someplace that you want to live. Someplace that you might get stuck for a while. And a while might be 10 years, 20 years. Get some roots in. So, probably going to get used to, just warn you guys now, A lot of people around you are going to think you're crazy. But again, think about with COVID and with, what a lot of us have been talking about, or even going back to, the early days of federal ID and real ID. I'm still one of the last people I know that has not transferred my driver's license over to a federal ID. I'm going to stick that out as long as I possibly can to not participate in the real ID. So think about all that kind of craziness and where that's leading to, and where all the other different stuff that people thought you were crazy and thought we'd never get to, and that we are at today. So, I'm not going crazy. I'm not trying to say that, the ideas that I'm sharing are, outlandish and, post-apocalyptic. But space is doing some weird stuff. We're learning that more. We're learning that even more and more with the telescopes that they're putting up there. And even if you guys are one of those flat earthers, I'm an ex-flat earther, but even if you're a flat earther, or you believe that NASA's a liar, which they are for most things, they're giving that as information. They're giving all that information for a reason, and so we should be listening. They don't just spread information. There's always reasons for that information that they're giving. So maybe it's coded, maybe it's the truth, maybe it's to let the lazy, powerful elite, the ones that don't think about a lot of stuff, maybe it's just to let them get some hints and to know some stuff and know what to invest in, and things of that sort. But if it's on the news, there's multiple reasons you see it. If they're spreading the story, there's multiple reasons. Don't just disregard it into thinking one direction. That's what they want. They want us to be ignorant. They want us to think that they're only telling, that all the news that they're telling us is just to dumb us down. And it really, again, a lot of it is, but behind all that dumb down is clues, is hints. There's always truth hidden in all the lies. Just got to figure those out. And if you follow the weather, or if you've been following, is there truth between climate change? There probably is some truth hidden there. Pollution is bad. Pouring motor oil into your ground is bad. But, some of the other stuff that they want to do is just going to make people poor and make people more miserable and make things worse. So, you have to think about all of that stuff. You have to think about all that balance. Quiet here for just a second. I'm going to be quiet for just a minute so you guys can just hear what the silence of sitting on this mountain is like. It's pretty peaceful. But I like sitting up here because sitting up on top of the mountain has a good reminder of, just look at all of the nothingness. There is a lot of non-human nothingness. Let's zoom in just a little bit. Just want you guys to see. I can zoom into a spot right in front of us. And that's a big slosh of land right in front of us. And there is right now on the screen, there is nothing, absolutely nothing, that humans have created that's visible. Isn't that pretty awesome? And I can even pan even a little bit more and look still. No, until we get to right there where you see the tip of that barn. Still nothingness. And until you get to where you see some of those cleared lots up there, it's still just an absolute, nature is still the winner. And probably always will be. So what we need to do is figure out what the tricks that nature knows. It's why I'm a permaculturist. It's why I do permaculture. It's why I teach permaculture. It's why here at the Mavis Institute we try to teach folks as much of that kind of stuff as we can. This is what's real. Yes, money is nice, and don't get me wrong, having money lubricates life and makes things easier and makes it easier to go out and do things. But in reality, if we have access to land and access to the bounty of what nature can provide, you can do it. And as I learn more myself, and as I get better at it and more productive at using the bounty that is here, thriving in a post-crony capitalist world is possible. And I say that not as a lefty. I say that not as someone who hates the world we live in, but just someone who is realistically seeing things change and understanding that we're seeing a pushback for a reason, and we just need to be aware of it. And we need to do what we can to protect the values that we see important, do what we can to preserve the values that we see important, and to share our knowledge and share what we think is important to send forward. So this fall, we're going to talk about my theory of Tartaria. So completely different than a lot of other folks. It's not necessarily as mud floody, and I think the mud flood has some really interesting things too, but not as conspiratorial, not as negative as a lot of people view. But we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the technology and how it is currently unattainable, but not unachievable. We don't have the means to understand the technology that they had back then, and the knowledge that, I don't want to say it was lost, but became not as available for the average person to acquire. And I think that's where we're heading. I think it's getting tougher and tougher for the elites to not see the abundance that exists. And so with the abundance that's coming up, and with the major changes that's about to occur on this planet when it comes to space and the sun and all that kind of stuff, they're looking at that as the Great Reset, where in reality we could be using this to achieve awesomeness by feeding the entire planet. We can easily make food to feed every single person. We have enough fresh water to feed every single person. We don't have to all, folks don't have to live in, the stack and pack cattle cities. Now, maybe not everyone wants to live in the country. Maybe some people want to live around the hustle and bustle of the hive of cities, and that's fine. But if you're going to live in the hustle and bustle around the hive of the city, you should be able to thrive in that. And so thriving is what I view as something that we should all be achieving. Live a luxurious lifestyle and thrive. And none of that means that we have to be completely materialistic. We don't have to, have the latest, greatest, awesome, cool thing, but we need to utilize the technology and utilize the tools that are available for us so that we can, do cool, awesome things. So something to definitely be aware of. It's something to keep in mind. And something that we should be actively trying to achieve. So the other reason I want to talk about the Dark Winter is they're trying to get us all to fight ourselves. They're trying to get us to dislike the left-right paradigm. And if most of people look at it, they're not left or right. So I want to, I bring this up. So, I've been counterculture for years. So in the 90s, I was part of the Freaks and Geeks. Always liked to do my own thing, not really blend in. Late 90s, early 2000s, I was a candy kid raver. I thought the Tea Party movement was cool until it got co-opted was a really big fan of the Occupy movement until it got co-opted. I currently really like this anti-work movement with this whole concept of, you should be working effectively, as hard, as efficiently, and as productive as you can, but you should also be rewarded for that. You shouldn't be, we need to get rid of this 9-to-5 model. We need to be focusing on getting stuff done and being rewarded for being efficient. Because some people might take a little bit longer, and some people might be able to get awesome stuff done and, punch in a time clock. Giving your time away to someone else is slavery. I know that sounds weird, and I know it sounds lefty-ish, and I know it sounds horrible, but you should be doing what you want to do. You should be achieving what you want to do. You should be, if you are enjoying where you work and you are doing awesome and you love every minute of it, and you've got a good boss and a good teamwork, co-workers and awesome teamwork, awesome. Like, that is spectacular. But most of us don't have that. Most of us are working, most of you guys are working in a greedy, materialistic world where the stuff that you're selling to folks is getting thrown away rather quickly, or you're feeding them poison food, or you're moving around, you're shifting boxes, or you're crunching numbers to make sure that someone gets something that they should get, that they were promised. And I say that through insurance, health insurance. People were promised particular things with the health insurance, and the health insurance company is trying to keep you from accessing that information or accessing that service or accessing that. There's a reason you pay for insurance, and you pay for insurance so that you can have so that when you break, you get fixed. And the greed has kind of taken over, and we don't kind of fix the broken anymore. They try to figure out ways to justify to pay to the shareholders. And that's a new phenomenon since the 90s, and a lot of folks, a lot of people my age and a lot of folks older than me don't quite understand that. They forget the fact that corporations used to care about their employees. Now they just care about their shareholders, and the employees are just one of the cog in the machine. And we're back to how it was, with the robber barons and the coal barons and such like that. We need to change that paradigm. We need to change that paradigm without violence, because there's going to be other things that are going to cause violence just regardless. And violence just gives power to bad people. One thing I like about this shot right here is I like the layers. I like the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 layers right there. You could even say, if you zoom down to this way, you could even say there's like 7 layers. Just so cool. The rolling mountains of Appalachia. Anyways, let's continue on. So this fall, when I have a little bit more time on my hand, we're gonna be talking about a lot more solutions. We're gonna talk about fixing stuff. We're gonna be talking about how do we do this? How do we save the world? How do we make things better? How do we get out of this corporate greed? How do we get out of this brainwashing of the bullshit that we currently live in? Because that's what it is. It's this materialistic bullshit world that we've been tricked into living. People aren't buying things because they're practical or because they need them or they think they need them. A lot of people are just shopping today because it makes them feel better. Retail therapy, people talk about that. And retail therapy is a sign of just insanity. And I'm saying this as someone who used to buy things because they made me feel better. And now, whenever I think of buying something, this is including food as well, I'm just trying to think of how I'm going to use it and how I can multiply use it and how I can save it, and, having the hoarder mindset, but not in the way that you need to hoard things because you need to have many toys. The one that dies with the most toys wins, but hoarding things because in the future it might not exist or might not be as readily available. If you guys are still following me on this crazy adventure, you guys know how much I jump drop topics. I like the part of Part of hanging out with me is the meandering of my thoughts and jumping around from many different things. But that's part of the fun. So how about you guys out in the world? Is anybody out there in the world, anything that you think that is achievable, think that we can do to make things better, that you see, that you would like, that you actually can achieve at changing? You know, we need to get together. We need to get together with all of my friends on DLive and Twitch and Odyssey and all the other kind of stuff, and we just need to have a good conversation about what can we do with our unique voices, with our skill sets to thrive, to make things better, to not be so angry at the bad people. Because, you know, it's easy to get angry at the bad people, and it's easy to let anger take over. Trust me, you're talking from someone who very easily gets riled up. It is easy for me to get riled up with emotions and not think as clear as I should. But we need to, what can we do to solve that and to deal with the silliness, and to not let the establishment, to not let the media, to not let all that control our minds? How are we going to deal with, how are you in your unique situation, how are you going to deal with the dark winter approaching? Are you buying more food? Are you preparing your mind? Are you spending more time with your spiritual self? Are you putting yourself, are you working out more? Are you keeping your body in more fit, better shape? All the different things we need to think about. I like the mix of young and old forest here. I like the old trees and then all of the young trees. I also like, since I've been here for quite a few years now, 17, I believe, 18 years, 17 or 18 years, I like seeing how everything has changed. Like, I'm sad that tree fell because that was a cool tree, but that tree falling opens up the ability for my hemlock tree right here to be able to extend and thrive. Because, you know, one day this hemlock tree will do awesome hemlocky things and just be a really beautiful, lovely tree. You guys are wondering, I'm walking down through the backwoods, the back trail. This used to be one of my disc golf course sites. at the moment. The last few years I haven't done a whole lot with it. There will be something in the near future. I spend some more time making nicer. Sometimes it's just nice to just go for quiet walks. I think one day when the fall kicks in, I probably won't be able to live stream it, but maybe I'll just upload the video. Me and Lisa will go